Afternoon, how are you all doing? Afternoon. I'm going to go backwards today. Lanart, the start of the year. Virginia, Jerry, Martin, JC, Peter, how are you all doing? Had good mornings. Been pretty good morning so far for me, but hey, that's me. Afternoon, Brian, Burke, David. Finally, a true trading stream that knows what they're talking about. Ah, David. I do like it when you're in here. Afternoon, Fletch, Crom, Emac, Stefan, how are we all doing? So DAX ORB this morning broke long. I closed it out there. I put this in the Telegram group this morning, but I put a trailing stop on it when we got into this accumulation. And it came straight back down. We're basically sitting inside the opening range again. So that was a pretty good decision to close this morning. So that was the DAX this morning. Didn't go anywhere. So if you took the ORB, you got a little bit this morning, not a lot. Enough. So yeah, there we go. That was that. Why is my open P&L not showing any profit? Good. So my futures platform seems to have had a funny 5 minutes. Do that later. Apparently, I'm supposed to leveraging dark pool AI. At least that's what the advert just said. Yeah, lots of AI. I've even afternoon a good day from Australia. Afternoon, Wilma. Yeah, basically, I've had lots of adverts for AI now. So AI basically is taking over. EA's AI is the future. Afternoon, Steve. So yeah, be prepared to be bombarded with AI trading bots that never lose. So banked 1% so far today. I've got a ton of profit on the table to bank, which I'm holding at the moment. There's quite a few ADRs today. Well, I say quite a few. There's a few ADRs today on the Swiss franc push. So Aussie dollar Swiss got into a long this morning on the H1M5 mean reversion. That was off at ADR as well. So the reversal alert was there on M5. So lovely entry. There's your entry off the reversal alert. It's long at the moment. There's ADR. So there's a few other ADRs as well. It's 25 past. We've got a few minutes. Pound Swiss. That was an ADR to the downside. So we got the reversal W, and that one's off from ADR. So there's a good entry there. New Zealand dollar Swiss. That was a nice hit as well today. So there's your reversal alert, ADR. And New Zealand dollar yen is the only yen pair we've had any movements on today. So got a short on this at the moment, New Zealand dollar yen. I was so close to taking that off. As soon as we got to that, I was like, shall I take it at that propulsion gap? No, I'll leave it. Because it's ADR, I thought. It's ADR and it's a propulsion gap. So it's probably a good place to take it off. Something happened and I completely forgot. And in the last 4 hours, it's just done that. So I haven't got it off. But yeah, that was a nice ADR hit today. So there was your 5-minute reversal alert. Big, hideous one. You couldn't really take that. You'd need to take price action on it because it was just a catastrophic collapse on that one. But all the ADRs basically played out today. Oil, CAD yen's just hit ADR as well while we're talking. So CAD yen, ADR hit to the upside. That New Zealand dollar yen, I'm just going to put a break-even stop on it. This yen's weakening, and I'm not sure if I should be short on this New Zealand yen. My exposure on the yen basically is 2 shorts and a long. So I'm just going to break even that one. Not sure. Oil as well. We got the weird thing on oil today. Basically, if you look at the news, we had some news from Russia here. The Black Sea grain agreement has expired as of today. And there was a weird spike on oil There, look, with this massive, like 10-minute, huge move up on oil, which took out that height and then came all the way straight back down. Very bizarre. So that triggered an ADR hit, an ADR alert, but I don't know what that was, but someone dumped a load of oil and then came back again. So weird. Don't know what it is, but that was a weird bit of price action there. So very odd. Anywho, so there's your ADRs today. There's a few ADRs to look at, mainly the Swiss franc. There's a lot of money coming into the Swiss franc, and there has been, as we know, Swiss franc's been doing very, very well. A lot of money been coming into the Swissy ahead of opening earnings fortnight. So we'll see if that all comes out now. So lovely double bottom bounce there on the pound Swiss. CAD Swiss was one I was watching for an aggressive drawdown control position today. I wanted it to get down to this monthly low. So we looked at this one this morning. I was waiting for it to get down to this monthly low, which is ADR today. We didn't get there. We basically reversed. So I got a new reversal alert in, another position on M5. Yeah, so I got that entry there and it's off. So I haven't taken an aggressive on it. I'm just going to watch what happens. But yeah, this could be the start of that reversal back up into propulsion. So I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. If we can get an ADR hit out of it, we only need another ADR tomorrow or Wednesday, and that'll be done. So I'm not going to get aggressive on it. I'm just going to let it run. Right. So there's your ADRs. Got 2 minutes to the open. The Dow today, basically, we've had the US indices have dropped a little. Probably best to look at this one. So US indices dropped a little and pushed back up again. The Dow is opening lower on the day. The S&P and the NASDAQ. NASDAQ's opening at Globex highs. S&P is opening bang in the middle of the day's range. So Dow's down, NASDAQ's up, S&P's bang in the middle. Could go anywhere, couldn't it, today? And obviously the DAX didn't do anything this morning. So looking at the indices, so I've got a really itchy nose for some reason. Looking at the indices, Dow, we're up at the highs, potentially double topping off the monthly, looking for a pullback somewhere into mid-range. S&P, we're at the highs. NASDAQ, we're at the highs. So again, these have still got room to pull back this week, but it's earnings fortnight kicking off this week. So these things will go anywhere they want this week. It's all going to be based on earnings. So technicals go out the window, basically. It will go wherever the earnings are going. So wait and see what happens. See the volatility is coming in. We've got a few seconds to go before the open. I've just stopped out on a short that I had on the Dow. Well, I'm glad I did. Dow's broken to the upside on the pre-market. Big, fast break to the upside. Jesus, look at that thing go. Okay. So Dow's just ran straight into the Globex high. NASDAQ's out the high. S&P is now out the high too. A lot of volume coming in. So good potential sell there on the Dow. But I wouldn't get involved in it yet until this has calmed down. Big move this morning. This afternoon. Afternoon, Astro. David, my best friend texted me this morning stating that my Forex funds now has no time limit. Yeah, that's right. They've removed the time limits. Valuations. Which doesn't really make a lot of difference because 90% of people, Christ, this thing's volatile today. Be careful. Just lost $200 literally in about 2 seconds. Just tried to short that high. Didn't work. Yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of difference removing the upper time limit on my Forex funds because most people stop out on the daily drawdown, 5%. So whether they give you 30 days or 90 days, most people, because there's no time limits on the downside, i.e. you've got minimum 5 trading days or 10 trading days or something, everybody tries to hit it within the minimum, which means everybody over leverages, which means everybody either passes or fails within a month anyway. So removing the upper time limit has very little impact on the majority. Wow, this is whippy today. Wait for this 5-minute opening range to go in. Afternoon, Wilma. Afternoon, Evans. Afternoon, Michael. XR update.news. Got poo-pooed when I hit up about AI. Got poo-pooed. ChatGPT coding, etc. Yeah, just a load of rubbish. Just ignore it. Chat. Do you know what? Do you know what ChatGPT and AI cannot do? That. Yeah. Until you can give me an AI or a bot that can predict the future, it has absolutely no more advantage over the markets than you or I do. Because every time an AI hits the button to buy or sell, the odds are the same, 50-50. It's either going to go up or going down. So unless it can see the future, AI isn't going to make any difference. So as soon as you get all these AI bots thrown at you for $100, $200 that are apparently machine learning, good luck. I can learn just as well about what's happened in the past, but it's got nothing to do with the next candle. This candle going up on the Dow now does not mean anything. Next 5 minutes could be up, could be down. I haven't got a clue. Neither is AI. All load of rubbish. Got a load of alerts going off. Yen pairs are on the march. Pound yen and US dollar yen. New Zealand CAD, Aussie CAD. We've got a lot of movement going on. So pound yen, ADR hit to the upside. New Zealand dollar CAD, ADR hit to the downside. There's a few more ADRs going in. Okay, we've got under a minute now. Okay, so there's your 5-minute opening range on the Dow. Rejected that high. NASDAQ and S&P. S&P also rejecting the high. NASDAQ still holding. So don't forget there's no earnings today. So this is all pre-market movement before the earnings, or pre-earnings movement, if you like. But certainly rejected that high at the moment. We've got 5 seconds to close. There we go. So yeah, there's your opening ranges in. And too big today. Far too big. Short 4, crikey. Okay, so I've just gone short on the Dow. The opening range breakout, this version of the EA isn't taking any trades today because that range is too big. But I have just taken a short on the Dow on that rejection. Yeah, so at the open, buyers tried to rally hard. Obviously, sellers stomped the crap out of them. So I'm looking for a test of that low and then potentially a break of the low today. See if we can get that break to the downside. NASDAQ's trying to rally out the highs. Okay, closed it. $830. Done. Right, so that's the ORB to the short side. So watch these lows on the Dow. So let's have a look at where we're going. Euro New Zealand, ADR as well. Lots of movement today. Big, strong move. Right, Dow. So if we're going to break to the downside today, sky's the limit, really. Well, it's not really, but this is a double top that we're seeing in play here, and we are going to break to the downside. Obviously, it's just a case of where in this range are we going. So the Dow is stuck at the minute. That was a bloody good exit. I got out there. I'll take that. More luck than judgment. But anyway. Sorry, I'm going to just cancel these orders. So yeah, basically, we're stuck now in this range from the monthly high from last month, from middle of June, hit that high, pulled back 50% on the move. And since then, we are basically just range bound. So if we're going to hold this range, yeah, you've got loads of room, sort of 300-400 ADR back down, all the way back down to these lows. So it's obviously going to depend on what happens with earnings over the next 2 weeks. But obviously earnings kicks off tomorrow properly. So if the market is going to rally to the downside, it's just a case of how long can you hold it type thing. And it could well put in multiple ADR days. So downside targets initially today, you've got previous day's low and yesterday's low. So really, yesterday's low is your initial target, which is there, which is Friday's low. So that's about 3/4 of an ADR. Failing that, you've got that accumulation in there, which is around about 200 ADR. Unlikely we're going to get enough volatility today to get 200 ADR moves before the earnings reports come out. So I would suspect more like a rotation today, but we'll see what happens. Dow's pushing back up inside the range. Look at the size of this volatility today. It's absolutely huge. So the open basically is 103 pips on a 286 ADR. So we've just done 1/3 of an ADR in 5 minutes. Huge volume coming in today. Very, very hard opening range to take. It is a short. If you're taking it with the ORB, you are short. We are rejecting these highs. Does look like the market's struggling to make any new highs today. A little bit more short bias than long, but I'll trade that there. We'll have a look at the FX pairs in a sec. Curious to know if you've had any experience trading other types of charts. Renko, Heikinashi, yes, everything. I've traded everything. You name it, I've traded it over the years. I'm just watching the Dow. So this 5-minute candle is pretty much closed where we opened. We're not closed where we opened, but so that range there. So there's your open. Flew up, pulled back. We've tried to go low, pulled back. So it's completely whipsawed at the moment. So I would just give this 5 minutes, 10 minutes to calm down and see if it's actually got any volume to get out today, because your range now, if you look at this 10-minute range here, if the market's going to make a move today, it's got to break that range, which is absolutely vast. So you just want to kind of wait for a smaller range to form that you can take a break of, because at the minute this thing's just all over the place. So just wait for the volatility to calm down, because you might as well all flip a coin and take a punt. Sibo, can I please get an explanation of what ADR is? Average daily range. If you go to the ADR indicator page on the website, which is there, there's a video there, how to profit from ADR. That explains what ADR is, how it's calculated, how I did all the research into ADR, everything you need to know about ADR. Okay, so S&P is an inside bar on the 5-minute open. NASDAQ's broken long. Mess. Wait for that to calm down. It's looking like it wants to try and go short again now. Look. Did you have any thoughts on those types of charts? Renko, know the definition, but needs the context. But I need in the context definition. I don't know what you mean, Sibo. What do you mean by in context definition of ADR? What do you want to know about ADR? Clarify. Any other thoughts on the other types of charts? Right, so Renko charts basically and Heikin-Ashi candlesticks are just ways of smoothing out price action. So when you look at Renko and Heikin-Ashi, you'll just have basically more green candles, or in Renko's case, green blocks drawn. Yeah. And then you'll have red blocks drawn and that sort of thing. So all it does is it smooths out price action. Kind of like call it, if you imagine this is Lego, yeah, Renko charts are Duplo blocks. Yeah, so you look at Lego is that. Yeah, gives you, high definition type view. And Duplo is for kids. So it's baby Lego. Renko charts are baby charts for people that can't read price action. My honest opinion. You wanted it? There you go. The trouble with Renko is by the time you see the signal, you've missed the price action because you can't see the price action. So I tried it. I couldn't find a way to make money with it. Nice rejection on the 5 minute on the NASDAQ, liking short. Yeah, nice wick to the upside there on the NAS. Inside bar on the S&P, we're forming a symmetrical triangle on the S&P. NASDAQ's rejected. Dow's confused as hell. So could go either way today, really could. We could just pull back on the NASDAQ into propulsion and get bought up again. Same with the S&P. We got that accumulation break. We might just be buying that accumulation break to go long. So just be careful going short at the minute. There's so much volume coming in. It's just, you can see when you've got long wicks and no direction, yeah, confusions, just massive dumps of long and short orders. They're getting in and out of stocks, basically getting ready for earnings. So until this is calmed down, you're not really going to get a direction. So you just need to wait today. I thought it might be a bit quieter today, but obviously it's get in and out your orders days. It's nice to hear your opinion on stuff. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with Renko, but it really is a case of you are removing all information from the chart. Yeah. So a Renko chart, basically all it does is remove any information about what is going on and dumb it down into we've moved up. So imagine ADR, right? What you would do with Renko is you would say every time we move a quarter of an ADR in a direction, I want you to paint me a block. So quarter of an ADR, quarter of an ADR, quarter of an ADR, one ADR, quarter of an ADR, quarter of an ADR, quarter of an ADR, one ADR. Yeah. But there's no signals in here. So what a lot of people do is go, well, if it pulls back two and it pushes up one, I'll go long and I'll put my stop under there. But it just doesn't work. Yeah, it looks really good on paper, Renko, but it doesn't work. And one of the reasons is because Renko has to be fine-tuned for every single instrument based on going long potentially on the Dow, based on the actual instrument itself. So this is kind of Heikin-Ashi Renko hybrid charts. But if you can fine-tune Renko blocks to paint differently by designating how far price has to move before it paints a block. So therefore, you can fine-tune it to look good for past history. So you can make it look amazing and make it look like it gives you amazing signals in the past. It's just like curve fitting a back test. to make the results good. So all that data there, I can always find a way to make profit out of that data that's happened in the past because I know it's happened. Therefore, I can always find a profitable way to trade it. With Renko, you fine tune it so you can always make the Renko charts look amazing in the past and easy to trade, but that will never play out in the future. This is the problem with them. They are a way of curve fitting data into something that looks good. Yeah, there's a sell opportunity. Yeah. A one Renko pullback. You know, there's millions of systems and strategies with them. I've built EAs to trade them. Just don't work. So stick to price action or random price movement, as it's called. With the market reversal alerts, if I do manual entry trade, will the EA take over? No, EAs don't trade manual entries. So any trades you take manually, the market reversal alerts EA won't pay any attention to them. So support, the propulsion gap is holding on the S&P. NASDAQ, we're potentially buying out of this level. Dow's gone long. Total vicious whipsaw to down the Dow. I'd let that calm down for a bit. Let's have a look at the FX market, see what's going on. Right. So ADRs we've looked at, there's quite a few of those. CAD yen, big extension, 125 now. That's just come back into profit. So looking for everything really to have a bit of a pullback on these yens. So the yen basically obviously had that massive rally. The US came down really, really hard, as did the Canadian dollar against it. We're starting to push up now. So there was your reversal alert on Friday. That's your retest arrow there. Can't see it because there's a lot on the chart, but there's a retest arrow there. So there's your retest W pattern long. So it's just a case of now, how far can this US dollar Canadian rally go before we potentially get stomped on again? So there's no news coming up today. We've had the Empire State Manufacturing today, but that came out positive, which is great, but it's not a massive news event. There's no news coming up until tomorrow afternoon with the Canadian dollar and the US. So today's really a case of how far can we get before that news comes in, because that news tomorrow could completely tank the US and the CAD again, obviously. So we'll see where we go, but all starting to move in the right direction. RSIs we looked at this morning. So a lot of the stuff that we have on, as you can see, is all starting to play out. I'm just going to quickly go through these because I've got a fair bit of profit on the table. So 0.5% on that. I'm just going to take that Aussie CAD off. Leave that one on. Pound CAD, a long way between those two entries. Just going to move target down to these lows here, just above these propulsion gaps. So just readjusting the target. Initial target was down there. Just readjusting the target there because the average is now up there. So bounce out of this potential area. So if you look at this area here on the pound CAD, we pushed up, pulled back, we retested it, rallied. So we found support there twice at that resistance. We may well find it again. So that's an obvious spot to put your target. New Zealand dollar CAD. It's ADR. I mean, there's 0.5% there. Might as well just take it. So closing New Zealand CAD. US dollar yen, I've got 2 positions on this, whereas I shouldn't have. Comes the manual. That one. Just going to close one of those US yens out. That one. That was a manual entry that I took. The EA took the second entry, so I'm just closing out my one, basically. Still in profit. Cool. So targets on that US yen now. Still going to leave them where they are, I think. 150 ADR. Again, the yen pairs, basically, we're pulling back on this. Question is always going to be, is the yen going to continue to rally? If the yen's going to continue to rally, do not want to hold these too long, because you see how strong the yen can be. And when the US dollar and the Canadian dollar have bad news, a la tomorrow, we've got new news coming up on both of those. If they have bad news again tomorrow, we've got some strength in this yen, this thing's going to come flying down. So what this will turn into would just be a flag break. So I don't want to hold them too long, these yens at the minute, just in case, but we'll see. Right. RSIs. Dow stuck at the highs. Sorry, I'm just flicking about a bit because trying to get a trade on, but I can't really decide where to go with this today. This does look like we might be finding support in this propulsion. That propulsion gap there is still there, but that one we've bought up. And we've definitely bought that at the moment. So potentially we might find room to the upside, but you see these massive old wicks. There is a lot of selling pressure, so very difficult to figure out which way we're going with this one today. Afternoon, Neo. DAX is going long as well. So Dow's out the highs, DAX is rallying, S&P is trying hard. So break of that candle potentially on the NASDAQ, or add on there for a long. I'm up $650 today, so I'm probably going to leave it personally, but I would be looking more long on this at the moment. Looking at the price action we've got, it does look a little bit more long than short. Based on the Dow rallying, the DAX also trying to rally, the S&P and the NASDAQ are probably the ones to trade, and just assume that they're going to go the same way. We'll see, though, where they go. Right, ADRs we've covered. There will be more lighting up on these ADRs probably as the session unfolds. But obviously, we are at ADR, so potentially we might get a nice little pullback out of these. So drop down to M5 if you want to take these as reversals. You're not really going to get a very tight entry on that. That one's going to be there. Oops, there's loads of... Go on, pop back in there. There's loads of... it's all Swiss franc and yen based, basically, all of these. So good chance of all of these mean reverting today. So just keep your eyes on all of these ADRs. Try and take the tight ones. Yeah, so when we get a nice tight one like that on New Zealand dollar CAD, if you're going to use a stop loss, obviously, you can get in with a nice quick third of an ADR profit out of those. But any of those could play out today. But let's look at the RSIs, because obviously the RSIs are what I mainly focus on. So let's look at the hourlies first. Euro odd. Anything else you want to look at, let me know, but I'm going to go through these anyway. Euro odd, we are up at the highs. Didn't quite get that extension this morning, unfortunately, so I didn't get an entry short on this one. Really nice level, last week's high and that monthly high. This area here we tapped into, and the sellers have stepped back in again. So potentially looking for this low, and again, range bound. A little bit like the Dow, basically completely sideways at the minute. So your 5-minute reversal alert on this one this morning is just triggered there for this afternoon. Sorry. This morning you had a reversal alert there. So that would have been the entry if you're taking the 30-70 on the RSI instead of the 25 as I am, or the 75 level. So it didn't quite get extended enough. So close that was, but you had a nice entry on that. Second entry's just kind of gone in, or second alert's just kind of got in on that one. So if we get that hourly reversal alert, we're looking at a push back down. So if we're going to continue long, looking for a pullback and then out there, so you'd be taking that. If we're going to stay range bound, obviously on this one, you can hold it all the way back down to this range low down here. But propulsion gap targets to the downside, not really much upside target. If you want to get into a position trade on this one, your first entry is going to go in there. Your second entry there is a little bit close. You're probably looking at somewhere in the region of half an ADR. Yeah, 76 pips, 77 pips. 70 is half an ADR. So pushing up into there and then back. So entry one, potentially entry two, if we go up and test that area and reject it, and then we'll be able to get out as we drop. So scenario looking at here basically is either that is going to work, or we're looking at uneven M pattern reversal. Yeah, stop hunt reversal. So that's euro odd. Euro pound also extended. So that's just got extended above the 30, above the 70 level. Same as here, basically. So exactly the same thing. Yeah. Looking for that drop. It's already triggered the short entry. If you took it, you're already in. There's your reversal alert. Straight down. We are coming back down into support, though, which they seem to be potentially trying to buy up now. But that wasn't extended enough for me either, so no entry on that one. It's coming out of that propulsion gap nicely, though. So we had this kind of little accumulation break, and we tested it. They sold it. Yeah, so this is the first time we've retested that area since the initial sell move started. Got that propulsion gap to the upside as well. So there's no targets to the downside, really. That's been tested, but entry there. If it does get up to that level there, that'd be a nice short, because you've got that entry there for a pullback. And then you've got another resistance coming up for a second entry up at the highs there. So it is extended. May well just drop from where it is. We'll have to wait and see. News-wise on the euro and the pound, as you can see, there's no euro news this week. We've got retail sales for the pound on Friday, but retail sales are very, very hit and miss for the pound. Don't tend to do a lot. Main news for the pound is CPI on Wednesday morning. So this is when we're going to get all our movement on the pound. This is going to be a big one this week. We've had a really strong pound for the last few weeks. So if that figure is up, which there is a potential possibility that that could happen, because we are not getting on top of this inflation by any measure at all. If that does come out as bullish, we are going to get a big run, I think, on the pound. We've been promised 1 to 1.25. Really bad 5. On our interest rates. If that comes out as positive, it's really going to put the pressure on that 1.25, which is going to increase the chances of us getting a 0.5 at the next meeting, which is going to rally the pound. So this week, I think that is going to be a very impacted figure. If that comes down, I think we'll probably find a little bit of weakness in the pound, but not a lot, because they are still promising higher interest rates. There's so much volatility coming into these indexes today. Just watching them all flicking about in the futures market, all over the place they are. Really volatile. But not going anywhere. There's a lot of volume coming in, but really no direction because of that massive open that we've had. But we are long on the S&P. If you took the long bounce there, that's kind of working. We are running into potential sellers though, so tricky one today, very tricky. Quite happy with what I've got. I want to get involved today. Chart's just updated. So Euro New Zealand is now extended. So just about to get a 5-minute reversal alert on that one shortly. So potentially that is going to be your M pattern if we get that alert. If not, then we'll continue to push up. We'll make a new high. And obviously we'll take whichever reversal alert comes next. But that looks like it's ready to go short now. So nice extension, just up at that 75 level now. This Euro New Zealand is really, really nice. You can probably see some of the trades that I've taken on this. 3 entries there. 1 in, 1 out there. 1 in, 1 out there. 1 in, 1 out there. Yeah, so really, really easy trades on this thing so far for the last sort of month or so. New extension here. You could have got an entry in there, but it didn't quite get extended enough. So Going to go short on this in a minute. When we get the next reversal alert, M5, just drop down, wait for that alert to come in. As soon as that comes in, the EA is going to take the trade for me. So if this obviously continues and comes back down and retests, we'll have a look at maybe a TP down there. Otherwise, if we get in and it doesn't hold, we've got another potential resistance coming up there. But if not, that's where we're going to be headed back up into the monthly highs. So we'll be a scale in on the way up to the monthly highs and then get out when we get up to there, and we'll get a pullback. If we do get all the way up to there, obviously RSI is going to be massively overextended and we're going to get that big drop. So yeah, looks like a good entry to go short. Obviously, we've got this big, strong move back down here off of this high. So we double topped and big, strong move there went in. So that's where that move started. We ran into the buyers who bought it back up again. So we're running back into the sellers now that started that move. So if they add into that position, we'll come back down and retest those lows. One of those levels at some point will break. So good looking short opportunity, nicely extended to the upside, ready to take a profit on it. So that's Euro New Zealand. So that's all your hourlies. The rest of them are all 4 hourlies today. So Aussie dollar Swiss, got along on this one already. So that's a 4-hour RSI extension. It's extended on the 30. Just got into this morning on an hourly. So it's not extended on the hourly anymore, as you can see. So 5-minute reversal alert was there. So long entry. I need to put TP on that. There's so many targets to the upside. So we're basically bouncing off of this low at the minute. So if this holds, we've got this range high here, which is that propulsion gap to aim for. We've obviously got that high there as well. And obviously we've got a propulsion gap there. So there's multiple propulsion gap targets. So that accumulation broke there. So there's a target there, and obviously you've got the ultimate target all the way up the top, which is the monthly highs. So very tricky, this one. All propulsion gap targets to the upside, as you can see, everything to the downside. All these old propulsion gaps all got done when we came back down again. So the only targets we've got are upside targets. So it's just a case of picking one, really. That's the closest one, which is kind of 1.5 ADR, which banks about 0.5%. So I'll just take that one, closest target. But if you want to hold it for longer, obviously, that accumulation break there was the first strong sell move that we had out of this big multi-week sideways move. So when we get back to that level, possibly going to find more sellers starting to come back in. So Aussie dollar Swiss, so that's extended on the 4-hour to the downside, but you had an hourly RSI extension on it today. So you've been on the hourly as well. CAD Swiss, that one's starting to run. So this is the one that's got 6 positions on at the moment, 7 now. Yeah, I'm absolutely exhausted. So we got extended there, which was our initial entry. And then we had the Canadian dollar and the US dollar having negative movements on all of its news and all that money flying in to the Swiss franc. So perfect storm, US dollar Swiss and the CAD Swiss. We're just out the high on the Dow, just taken out the high of the day. So it's still rallying. So that is your 5-minute opening range break to the upside. So if you're taking the 5-minute ORB, your short would have stopped out and you're now flipped long. But I mean, it's just an absolutely vast stop today. It's just not tradable, really. Very difficult to get into today. Doesn't seem to be any directional bias at all. CAD Swiss, so nice bounce there. Hourly RSI extension, as we know. 4-hour RSI extension. We just had the reverse alert on the hourly. So we'll see if that holds. So big extension. We looked at these this morning. We don't get down to this level very often. This where we are here, look. Very unusual to get below 10. We have done, obviously, there. Then you got that 50% retracement pullback. We did there. You got 50% retracement pullback. We have now for a 50% retracement pullback. It's just history repeating itself over and over again, as it has for decades. So, yeah, long waiting for some US dollar and Canadian dollar strength, and for this Swiss franc to take its foot off the gas, and then they'll start a profit take move, and we'll be out. So looking for just push to the upside, decent profit on that one, if and when. Dow's out the highs now. So that's CAD Swiss on the 4 hour, hugely extended and embedded, as we know. Same as the US dollar Swiss. Yeah, so massive extension. Again, very rare we get down to these sorts of levels, but when we do, we always get that pullback, profit take move. The market's got to take profit. It's exhausted. Everybody is short, and the only way they can make money is to flip long, get out of those positions. So we will get that pullback. And there's a really nice pullback on this US dollar yen as well. Look at that. That is your previous support before that level broke. So that is the obvious spot we were going to test first time round. So, and that will be in that 24.72 zone by the time it gets there. It's going to be a few days, but could all happen tomorrow. Don't forget. News is tomorrow. So that's US dollar Swiss, jumping around a bit. We've done CAD Swiss. Euro CAD. Big extension to the upside. 4 hour RSI extension, same thing. Yeah. Just waiting for the pullback to start, which it has. So 5-minute reverse alert's obviously gone in. The 15-minute, we've had an hourly reverse alert there as well. So first entry for me on this one was all the way back here on that RSI extension. Same thing, Canadian dollar, massive weakness with the US dollar. Everything's taken advantage of it. The euro, the Swiss, the pound, everything's taken advantage of the weakness that we've had on the CAD and the US dollar. So big, strong push, multiple drawdown controls done on that, all starting to unfold now. So this level here, this propulsion gap, is potentially your first support bounce if we are going to continue in that direction. We're going to need a sustained weak Canadian dollar for that to happen. Euro, as I say, we haven't got any news on the euro coming out for a good few weeks, any decent news. So the euro is not going to have any reason to massively power up unless something happens, but it will have reason to go sideways or to weaken. And obviously all we need is a bit of Canadian dollar strength and this thing will be down. So a couple of ADR pushes to the downside, be out of that. So that propulsion gap target to the downside is where I'd be looking to get out. My target is down there at the moment. I'm going to move that actually. Average is now up there. So just going to move my target to the top of that propulsion gap, which is this high here. Targets there. Okay, so going to get out there. It's going to take a few days to get there, obviously, but assuming, obviously, we do continue to come down, we may well get the bounce beforehand. So I'll be monitoring this level, 225 ADR. In fact, I'm just going to stick a little alert on that, just above that level. So just stuck an alert there, just to remind me to have a look. So yeah, coming down very nicely. 5-minute reverse alert today. Was all the way up there. There was your entry, retest, and off we go. So that's Euro CAD, Euro US dollar, 4 hour RSI extension, big embedded move again. So huge extension on the 4 hour. You know, we haven't been up here for a long time, going back to May now here. Upside or downside. Yeah, this is the biggest, strongest move we've had on the US pairs for a long time. So big push, expecting a profit take move on this. We just tried to do a 4 hour reverse alert and failed. It's just pushed back up again. So this high is your previous monthly high. That's the obvious spot for potential support on the way back down. So again, my target is in that propulsion gap there, which is actually an hourly propulsion gap. So initial entry for me was all the way back there. looking for a bounce off of that high, which we got, but it then obviously had all the bad news for the US dollar. So that's rallied. So that high there, basically, I'm getting out on that propulsion gap before we get to that level, just in case that happens. But this will all happen tomorrow, obviously. We've got all the news coming out tomorrow. So if we get news tomorrow, which is meh, you know, if it comes out kind of as expected across the board, then we may well just get slow, grindy movements. But if we get some unexpected news on this, hopefully positive for both of these guys, because they've just had negative news, we'll get a big rally. So we've had some decent news this morning off the US dollar, so we'll see how we go. Dow's just rejected the highs. So we got a big pullback off of that push. So this was a breakout play, basically. So we broke out that 5-minute range, held. They tried to break out and have failed. So we'll see where we go from there for this candle. But buyers seem to be adding back in, but we are lower high on the NASDAQ, higher high on the S&P. Total confusion across all three of them. So very difficult today. Flip a coin. Use a 2R. If you get a couple of good trades, go and do something else. Could go absolutely anywhere today. This is the problem with earnings fortnight, is the volatility and the wicks. You do get a lot of, you either get these moves. So the pre-market 15-minute ranges on earnings, well, these are the ones where you'll suddenly get like multiple earnings pre-market, which are all positive in one sector. And at the open, it will just go like that. And you'll be sitting there going 15-1. Or you get unsure, not sure what to do with those earnings. Huge wicks, but masses of volume. Real hit and miss. But that's what it's all about, isn't it? Yeah, getting those big winners. That's what the opening range breakout strategy is all about. And earnings fortnight is when you're going to get it. So, yeah, just quickly while we're talking about earnings fortnight. So, wrong one. So tomorrow we've got pre-market Bank of America and Morgan Stanley, and then we've got Goldman pre-market on Wednesday. So really, Thursday is probably your first big day, because you've got three aftermarkets, Netflix and Tesla, massive players. So you're going to have all the volume from that aftermarket and all the volume from that pre-market executed at the open on Thursday afternoon. So Thursday afternoon is probably your first really big insurgence of volume coming through. We might get some on Wednesday because we've got Goldman, Morgan Stanley and BAC, but Thursday's probably the big one. So volatile until then. Really nice wicks there, look. So take a break of that high. We are going to run. Up under that low. Watch for price action at the highs there. I should take that myself. Just going to try one contract long. Quick. If it breaks, if it doesn't break. Right. So that's Euro US dollar. How did Brian's strategies do today? Broke to the downside, broke to the upside. That's probably a 2R, isn't it? No. Hideous. Big wick. There you go, Brian. 2 stop outs, 2 1Rs, break even so far. Just triggered short again. Yeah. Just triggered short and pulled straight back inside that range. So hopefully sellers that tried to get that break will actually manage to get that break, but we'll see. So there's your 1 hour. So obviously this is the 4-hour RSI extension that's just unfolding. We haven't had the reversal alert on the 4-hour. pushed it down, pulled it back up. That's why we wait for the reverse alert, wait for the candle to close, wait for the reverse alert to trigger. Hourly, same thing. Yeah, so that was the last batch of selling before the new high was made. Tried, failed. Buyers still in control. So don't get in until the sellers are in control. 15-minute, you've definitely had a reversal alert on it. It's retested as well. So could go. Certainly extended enough to go, isn't it? Pound CAD, 4-hour RSI extension. That's just about to come off of alert. That's already unfolded. So your entry on that one was this morning, all the way up there, M pattern. So that one you've missed. We've already done US dollar Swiss. NASDAQ's looking stuck. Starting to potentially roll over there, look. Again, S&P, we got 2 minutes left on this candle, but you're just about to put an inside bar in on the S&P. NASDAQ is also doing an inside bar at the moment. We've got 2 minutes left. Wait for these candles to close, obviously. But we are pausing. About to go long. Long. So long on the NASDAQ. So just going to see if I can get a quick run up to the highs. Right, that's all the ADRs done. And the RSIs. So see how that all plays out today. Anybody got any other pairs they want to have a look at? Oil I wanted to have a look at as well. So obviously we got this weird thing on oil today. Huge spike in 10 minutes. They literally spiked up for 10 minutes and then undid the entire thing within an hour, as you can see. I'm going to stop out the NASDAQ. Not quite, but nearly. Just tried to make a run on the high. It didn't manage to make it. Yeah, oil at the moment, we're very extended. We've got that reversal alert in on the hourly. So it's how far we're going to pull back. The difficulty with reading price action on this oil at the moment is that's where we looked at for that bounce, remember, there, which is what we got. There's so many levels here that we could pull back into for a rally. So obviously we pushed up, we're now pulling back. So 38 retracement is kind of the minimum we would tend to look at. So if you put a little measure on there, 38 retracement is down here, this propulsion gap. Yeah, which is kind of what we tested, but it's not quite got to the 38. So that would be kind of like a bit of a flag break pattern to come up and test that high. We've obviously tested that level, which is what they brought up. We've then got these levels down here. So this could still come all the way back down to 50% retracement. So your 50% retracement are those highs. And you've got multiple levels before that. So somewhere in here, if it gets down there, is kind of where I would think that's a spot on place to start looking to buy this. Assuming that this market structure break that we've just got is now your new low, high. We're looking for a higher low. Then we're going to run on the highs. So somewhere in there, I don't think this is quite far enough yet. I'd be interested in buying it somewhere around there. So, 175 ADR, 150 ADR today, somewhere around those levels. So 38 to 50% retracement. Wait for a reversal alert in there somewhere and take that. And then hopefully it flies off to those highs. Let's go NASDAQ. So NASDAQ's just broken. So we'll see if we get that run on the highs. If we get that pop, that'd be very nice. Something weird in my bottle. Not going to look. Tony, that Russians are saying no safety is guaranteed in the Black Sea. Yeah, that was to do with the grain, basically. The grain agreement has expired in the Black Sea. Oil goes through the pipelines, though. So it's in their interest to. Oh, there you go. So June seaborne oil product exports rise 1.2 from May. That's when did that news spike actually happen? So 12 o'clock. So that was 10 a.m. this morning. See, that was off that oil spike came off of that, but it's not really anything to do with oil, which is, it's kind of a knee-jerk reaction. But anything to do with the Russians will obviously impact on oil because they're supplying pretty much all of Europe through those pipelines. So there's still they can't just go. Europe can't just turn around and go, we're not buying Russian oil anymore. They have to. They've got to keep the fires burning. So it's a case of they are now resourcing oil and gas supplies and everything from everywhere else, obviously, not from Russia, but it takes time. So this is the big question mark over oil, whether or not we're going to get this rally or whether or not, this is the new norm now for oil. We're not going to be selling more than $65 to $80 a barrel. That might now be the going rate, in which case then, yeah, you want to be shorting it back down to these lows. But if we are going to, it's taken months to break that high, get back out of this balance that we've been in, and they've just ran for it and went straight through it. So it's either testing 83, but anything that happens in Russia is going to impact this price, isn't it? So difficult one. If in doubt, stay out is the term. At the moment, I would be interested in that propulsion gap. Possibly, not really, but more that propulsion gap. At least I know it's had a decent pullback. So it's a profit take move, basically, and add second leg. NASDAQ stuck. S&P is also stuck. Thanks for the follow, Mike. Welcome aboard. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to just reduce my stop on this. Just move my stop under this low. I don't like it. I don't like that. Sorry, that low. I'm trading the wrong thing. I'm trading the NASDAQ, not the Dow. We're not, we've got a lower high going in. Yeah, we're potentially just going into rotation. The S&P hasn't managed to make new highs. If the S&P gets new highs, I'll have more confidence in this. But the S&P is struggling up at these highs as well. We've got 20 minutes of total indecision. That's coming down again. Going to stop out. Good. Out. I'm going to leave that. I can't make anything out of this. This is too difficult today. It's just a mess at the minute. So I would leave it well alone. Just indecision. So anybody got any other pairs they want to have a look at or anything else they want to discuss? In general, I've covered all the ADRs, I've covered all the RSIs. We've looked at everything that I'm in. I haven't got anything else to say. Anybody got anything else they want to look at? News-wise, just so you know as well, for tomorrow, Australian dollar overnight monetary policy meeting minutes. So we did have low last week, talking back here. So after the New Zealand rates, we got obviously the rate statement for the New Zealanders. Then we had low speaking, which obviously was to do with the New Zealand dollar rates because the Aussie and the New Zealand dollar moved together. So potentially there's not going to be anything that low didn't say in here. But now they've had their chance to get the movements out of the way for the New Zealand dollar off of their rate announcement. So we might find there's something in here that gives us some clue as to the bullish or bearish stance they've got moving forward. But the Aussies, as we know, froze the rates basically last time round, which is not having a good effect on the market, obviously, and inflation is still not anywhere near where they want it to. So I get the feeling we might get some bullish stance in that announcement tomorrow. We might get a little bit of a rally coming off of that New Zealand, that Australian dollar, but we'll have to wait and see. So just be aware of that. If you've got any Aussie dollar profit, so always before because this is happening when I'm asleep tomorrow morning. So if you've got anything in profit on the Aussie dollar, so look at Aussie dollar, I've just literally got one long, one short. I'm hedged on the Aussie anyway. So, but those are my Aussie pairs. If you've got any decent profit, 0.25% or anything like that, it's worth banking it because there's only two things that can happen to it. It will either go massively into drawdown, and then you won't be able to bank it. You'll have to deal with it, or it will fly in your direction, or it will go nowhere, obviously. If it flies in your direction, fine. But if you want to stop it going into drawdown, you need to bank it. It's better, in my experience, to stick it here as realized profit than have it as unrealized profit, hoping that it will go your way and actually waking up and finding yourself in 0.5% of drawdown on the position. So anything you've got Aussie-wise, potentially New Zealand as well. Don't forget the Aussie and the New Zealand move in tandem. So anything you've got New Zealand dollar as well that you might be able to just bank, worth banking, just in case. You never know where it's going to go. Really stuck. Just basically hovering above that 5-minute initial cash balance that we put in. Up to date. Let's check out our favorite, gold. We haven't looked at gold for days. Gold. So US dollar has been coming down. Gold will have been going up because it is just a US dollar cross. So obviously we've had a rally based on the US dollar dropping. So we are up here, obviously back in this area of balance. So we move from balance, price discovery, balance, price discovery, failed, back into balance. So news is tomorrow afternoon on the US dollar, and that's when we'll get the next move. So where we are at the minute, downside at ADR, if we're going to go long, is potentially support out of that propulsion gap. We know that when they bought this, the buyers stepped in twice and added, and they've been adding to get us back into here. That propulsion gap there was completed. So we have got this target to the downside. So if we can get somewhere down here by tomorrow and we manage to get some decent news on the US dollar, this is going to come back down and retest this. If we don't get decent news on the US dollar, that's where they will add into those positions. So difficult to tell, obviously, with this one at the minute. You're bang in the middle of the monthly range where we are as well. A little bit more upside, but all these targets to the upside to be done. But this is obviously dependent on the US dollar continuing to be weak. If we get a continued weak US dollar, we will be back up here. Who knows? Very difficult to tell. I'm really tempted to have a go on this Dow. all these wicks. Yeah. Every downward movement is being met by buyers. That's the only concern. If the buyers do actually take control of this, I think we've got a good chance of these sellers all puking and taking us all the way back out of these highs. Looks really bullish. But then again, there's just no movement, is there? So it's either got to go explosively or not to make any money out of it. Watch price action back down here as well. That's what we did to break the high of the day. That's where the buyers took control today. So if they get pushed back down into there, we might get an add, or they won't get pushed down and we'll just basically get a break and we'll go anyway. I like it long. If you've got the price action toolkit, oh, wrong one. Oh, I haven't got the price action toolkit on here. I thought that chart had the price action toolkit on it. It hasn't. You've got the price action toolkit, obviously. You can use that just to trade a break of that candle high. GJ. So pound yen, like all the other yens, rallying like crazy. We are just putting back into the 24 at the moment. The question is, have we got another leg on this? And the thing is, we also need this other leg to do it by Wednesday. So Euro CAD ADR. Wednesday is CPI. So on Wednesday, the next move on the pound is potentially going to start. If we get a big deviation on that, if we get more than a 0.2 out, plus or minus, I think we'll have a big move. If we get an as expected, difficult to tell. So with the pound yen, I'm not in anything on it at the moment. The last entry you had was all the way back here, was a long. No, actually, well, I didn't get it, but on the 4 hour, you had a long opportunity back down there, which obviously you would be in now. So question is, are we going to come and fill all these propulsion gaps? Or not? Difficult, very difficult, the ends. But the pound is bullish. So if you're at all concerned, I would be going long on it rather than short. As you can see, if the pound rallies and that yen suddenly weakens at the same time, we're just going to get another one of those big, strong squeezes, which obviously you will be in for weeks. So CPI, wait for CPI on Wednesday. See where we go from there. Do you still have the CCFP, Indy? I sent you a while back. Don't think so. Don't know. Don't know is the honest answer. Probably not. I tried to declutter myself. Right, that's all I've got for you today. So just going to manage, obviously, what we're in. See where we go. As the Dow's did manage to get the break. We are pulling back down, but obviously very wicky. The upside. So potentially might get another leg out of the Dow. There's plenty of room to the upside. I don't seem to have the ADR indicator on there, but anyway. So there's plenty of room to the upside if we do break high of the day. We are up at this monthly high resistance, though. So if we do break it, there's plenty of room when we get out those highs to run today. But it doesn't look like it's got the legs. But if we do get another break of that high, we might well get a run up to ADR. So that's the only thing I'm really interested in taking today. I don't really want to short it. So I'll watch price action down here. See if we get any bullish price action coming in down here. For longs, be interested in taking a break of that high and see if we can get a rally out of that high. Only reason I like this here is because if we break that high, we're going to run up into that high there. If we break that high, it will pop and you'll get a really nice big strong move out that high. Yeah, because all of the limits, all the stops will trigger there and it will flip long and you get a big strong push out there, which means you could get that to break even. And then if we are going to get a run, you'll have a break even trade while they're pushing out of these highs. So it's be a quick move, basically. Place that order. So yeah, just take a break of this level, really. Close. Almost got triggered on that then. Finally got the market reversal alert EA installed. Cool. There you go. I'm long on the Dow. Good job. Now just make money. Simple. Stop will be under that low. If that doesn't go, then obviously I'll be out. In danger of giving it all back today. One of those days. Very difficult to make it on the open, very difficult to make it after. Right, I'll leave it there. Anything you need, let me know. I'll be in the Telegram group back tomorrow morning, 7:50 for the Frankfurt session and obviously for the US. Be careful of the Aussie dollar news overnight. Monetary policy meeting minutes, 2:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then obviously main news tomorrow is 1:30 tomorrow for the CPI and the retail sales. So tomorrow morning's session, we'll probably find we've got some ADRs on the Aussie and New Zealand pairs. We may well have a fairly quiet rotational session ahead of CPI at 1:30, but obviously this will all have come out before the news. So US markets tomorrow afternoon at the open may have done a lot of their volume. And obviously bear in mind, tomorrow is the first proper day of getting underway for earnings fortnight. So volatility is going to start coming in. As we've seen today, there's been a fair old bit of volatility already, hasn't there? So all right, have a good one. And obviously just get anything closed on the Aussie dollars if you need to before the news overnight. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good evening.